The Baloch Spring represents a significant women-led movement that has emerged in Pakistan's Balochistan province, gaining momentum in late 2023 with a historic march from Turbat to Islamabad, led by prominent figures like Dr. Marang Baloch. This movement is characterized by its peaceful approach and focus on addressing human rights violations, particularly enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings. The women of the Baloch Spring have broken traditional barriers in their conservative society, organizing protests and rallies that have drawn thousands of supporters and attracted international attention. Their participation marks a significant shift as women take a more prominent role in advocating for justice and human rights in the region. Traditionally confined to domestic spheres due to conservative social norms, women's involvement in public life was once severely limited in Balochistan. However, as human rights violations and enforced disappearances escalated in the region, women whose male family members were affected began to step into the public arena, marking the beginning of their visible involvement in political activism. This gradual shift gained momentum in the 2010s with the emergence of leaders like Karima Baloch, who broke new ground by becoming the first woman to chair the Baloch Students' Organization Azad in 2015. The recent Baloch Spring movement, particularly the Long March to Islamabad in December 2023, led by Dr. Marang Baloch, has brought Baloch women's activism into the national spotlight, marking a significant departure from earlier protests that remained on the periphery of mainstream attention. Today, women lead major political organizations, spearhead protest movements, organize rallies, give speeches to large crowds including men, and lead long-term sit-ins and marches. Their increased involvement has not only transformed Baloch politics, but also challenged patriarchal norms, opening doors for greater female participation in all aspects of public life. This movement is notable for its political nature, distinguishing itself from broader feminist movements in Pakistan by concentrating on specific Baloch grievances. The women leading the Baloch Spring have successfully brought issues of political and economic marginalization in Balochistan to the forefront of national discourse. Their efforts have not only increased visibility for Baloch concerns, but have also empowered more women to organize and participate in political activism independently. Despite facing challenges such as resistance from security forces and the complex political landscape of an ongoing insurgency, the movement has continued to evolve. While initially focused on disappearances and killings, it has begun to address broader issues including education, health, and climate change. The Baloch Spring signifies a transformative moment in Balochistan's political dynamics, with women playing a central and unprecedented role in advocating for justice and change in their region. Women in Balochistan are protesting against several serious human rights violations, including enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, arbitrary detention, and torture. The primary issue being protested is the practice of enforced disappearances. Hundreds of families have had loved ones forcibly taken by authorities, with their whereabouts remaining unknown. According to official figures, over 2,750 cases of enforced disappearances have been recorded in Balochistan since 2011. The protesters are also demanding accountability for the extrajudicial killings of the Baloch people. There are also reports of arbitrary detention and torture of Baloch people by security forces. The protesters themselves have faced harassment, arbitrary arrests, and excessive force from authorities while attempting to peacefully demonstrate. This includes the use of water cannons, tear gas, and batons against peaceful marchers, the detention of women and children protesters, blocking the entry of food and supplies to protest camps, and spreading disinformation to discredit the protesters. These human rights violations are occurring against the backdrop of a long-standing insurgency in Balochistan, with the Baloch community citing political disenfranchisement and socioeconomic grievances against the Pakistani government.